Honestly, we should have used a condom, but we got distracted.
Honestly, there are things that everyone can do to help protect their sexual health. Talk to a healthcare provider to find out how you can take action. And find out more at ownyoursexualhealth.com. Sponsored by Gilead.
The crowdfunding campaign for Indigo, The Color of Grief, begins a week from today, Tuesday, October 17th. Yeah, the analytic crowdfunding gods, which is a very special deity, by the way, have decreed that Tuesdays are the best days to start crowdfunders. Who knew? I mean, obviously, no one's going to start a campaign on the weekend, and Mondays, well, apparently, on Mondays, people are checking their emails, so you can't start a crowdfunder then. And Thursdays and Fridays are out because people have already checked out for the week. Can you believe that? The audacity of people to check out on a Thursday. So yeah, the analytic crowdfunding gods, they know all of this, which means that the only option left is a Tuesday or a Wednesday. And I can't wait till Wednesday, so there you have it. We're starting Indigo, The Color of Grief, as a campaign a week from today, Tuesday, October 17th. There are 3 things I'd like to tell you about with regard to the selling of this project. Number 1, if this campaign doesn't go very well, it'll be embarrassing. Number 2, I queried the hell out of a bunch of publishers and agents on this project. Side note, when a writer uses the word query, they're referring to the pitch they put together to sell their book to an agent who might be able to sell their book to a publisher who might be able to sell their book to the public. And another side note, when a writer uses the word hell, they're referring to the actual querying process. Yeah, I did my best to get this into the hands of the major players. I'll be honest, it's weird writing pages and pages on answering, let's say, like, why is this the best book on grief ever written? On one of my submissions, I literally wrote, I do not think that this is the best book on grief ever written. Or how about this one, which lives on all the query submissions in some way, shape, or form? Something like, how should this work be considered when compared to C.S. Lewis or Nicholas Walterstorff's work on grief? My response, mine's probably not as good, although my name is easier to pronounce than Nick's. Oh, here's a good one. Mr. Foster, imagine you're a potential reader walking into a physical bookstore. You're there looking for Indigo, The Color of Grief. Where in the store would you look? Where would your book be located? Which shelf? What are the names of the authors on the books on either sides of your work? My response, wait, what's a physical bookstore? Yeah, I tried. I use my most creative words. I cannot tell you how many times I logged on to Webster's to try and illustrate what it's like when laughing and crying come over you simultaneously, which is what I think happens when you read Indigo, The Color of Grief. So there I am on Webster's, like, should I go with the word destabilized or disoriented or weird in a good way to try to convey what this is like to read this? By the way, my friend Tim Suttle probably puts this the best when he referenced the phrase aesthetic arrest after reading my book. He said that's what happens when art sneaks in through the back door and grabs your attention. Damn, I wish I would have known of that phrase when I was doing all these queries. It could have really come in handy. Yeah, I tried in other ways too to express to them how good I think this book is. I told them when they read it, they'll think this writing, the offspring like of a Rob Bell, Cheryl Strayed, Richard Boothby union, which I think is true, but also kind of weird, so maybe that wasn't my best move. Mostly, though, I said, hey, look, Paul Young said he loved this book. You realize that's the dude who wrote The Shack, right? Paul freaking Young? He's sold over 20 million books. Yeah, I highlighted, bolded, underlined 20 million. Like, I did my very best. I saved my very best emojis for that sentence, just to get their attention. Alas, nothing. Crickets, as we say. I imagine agent after publisher yawning, opening my email, scanning through to find the most important question, the one in all of these query submissions that goes something like this. Mr. Foster, how many social media followers do you have? My response, what do you mean exactly? Like, I'm a social person? I have been known to talk to people. People have seen me on media. I've got some CD-ROMs of some workshops. I've got the Twitter and the X, MySpace, YouTube. Just let me know. Total followers? Oh, it's probably into the thousands. And then I imagine them taking a long sip of their coffee and hitting delete. So yeah, the point is, I pitched this thing as hard as I could. But the third thing I want to tell you about this campaign, despite how all the aforementioned went, honestly, I do feel a sense of peace about this little book. It's probably my most novel writing, and for an Enneagram 4, novelty is really important. Actually, I don't even know if I'm an Enneagram 4 for sure because I refused to take the test, which, as my friend often reminds me, just proves that I am an Enneagram 4. Either way, the writing is novel, and I know that the insight is strong. And also, the responses I've been getting on the pre-published editions from friends who are writers have been overwhelmingly good. So I have a sense of peace. But of course, there are no guarantees, which is what this little book is all about anyhow. There are no guarantees in life. I mean, honestly, when one loses a child, they come to know this in the most brutal way possible. Life can be very, very bad. When you're really honest about it, life can be terrible. But also, life can be beautiful, too. Which leads me to end this little post about the book Indigo, The Color of Grief, which happens on the crowdfunding site Indiegogo on Tuesday morning, October 17th, by reading you the entirety of the last chapter of the book. Yep, I'm going to read you the whole chapter. The chapter title is And it goes something like this. And now these two questions remain. Why do bad things happen? And why do good things happen? But the greatest of these is, why do good things happen?